Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to welcome you to Meditation One at the Liberated Healer. I'm Gina Cavalier. I am the founder of the Liberated Healer and the host of the Liberated Healer podcast, and really excited to get started with these new series that we're going to be developing. So, Meditation One is the foundation for all of our work. Everything we do, no matter what, it's the one thing that we have to follow in sequence. There's going to be a few different things that we have to follow in sequence, and this is always the first one. Okay. So the first one we always use is grounding or earthing. And there's a reason why it's become so popular recently. Even a new term, earthing, has kind of come into it. And it's something that was inherent in us a very long time ago, naturally, when we lived in less of a world that was less buildings, less cement, less Wi-Fi, less electronics, and it's our natural bodies' way of connecting to the earth and the energy of the earth, which is something that we all need. And in my journey of meditations, many different areas that I study, including Hinduism and Buddhism, and a lot of different techniques, which were wonderful. There was always something a little bit missing for me personally. And when I found grounding and earthing, it was just for me, the whole world that, put me on my track to where I am today and doing the things that I love to do and changing my life, healing my suicidal ideation, bringing in the people and the energies that are more of the lifestyle and the kind of relationships that I want to have. Everything changed and put me in the driver's seat. And grounding was the first thing. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. And the great thing is that when you learn how to ground yourself, you can ground other people. You can ground projects. You can ground your home, your office, everything, anything. And we will get into that and explain how that works. So don't miss this. This will be the first thing that you do every time we go onto another class or another topic, no matter what it is. So the reason why grounding also is really important, and an analogy I like to use is because people seem to get it when we explain it like this. For example, if you're going to build a home and you're an electrician, right? This is all energy. The electrician puts in the wires for all the homes, so everything and all the lights work, which is what the analogy is energy, our energy. And the very first thing that they do is they add a grounding to the earth. Because what if they don't have that grounding? The energy will be spinning everywhere, going in different directions. And when I was younger, I didn't understand why they would need to do that. But now that I know, it makes perfect sense. How do you control the energy when it's everywhere? How do you control your thoughts or emotion when it's everywhere? So that's why grounding was so great for me. Also because I'm functioning, I'm empath. This is great for teaching autistic um, personalities or people that have a lot of trauma background. It really does help um, give it a calming, soothing, relaxing um, state of being, and then also a way to release things that are no longer serving us. So I even have a grounding mat that I stand on and I put on my desk that I, just ordered online. It was very cheap, like $20, but it's an additional grounding. So in case I forget to do my grounding, I'm always around grounding mechanisms. It's also why I live at the beach. So people that live closer to mountains or closer to nature or closer to the ocean will automatically have a little bit more grounding because they're close proximity to a high level of nature. Um, so this is really great for people in cities. New York City, Los Angeles, all these different places really need to have this. When you put cement on top of cement on top of cement, and you're, say, way up working in a high rise building, and you're not feeling, you're feeling emotional, or you can't, when you get into the grounding a little bit more, you'll understand. how this applies to you. You feel a little bit wonky, you feel out of your body. You need to ground. So this is a way you can ground anywhere, anytime. Um, Only one rule is there's a difference when you're in an airplane grounding when you're actually physically in an airplane traveling. So we will get that to you at the very, very end. But the first thing is grounding. So again, I'm sorry I'm setting it up for so long, but it's really important. Also, in this class, you're going to have a PDF that is going to take you through every single step and understand, so you can understand it, right? So, the first thing is to close your eyes and get into a meditative state. Now, if you choose to have meditation music around you, that's fine. Um, Especially when you first starting to practice this, and it does take practice. It's something I automatically do now as soon as I wake up, no matter what position I'm in. But for the purposes of starting, we always like to start with you sitting in a chair, upright chair with your back against the chair and your arms on your thighs and with your palms facing up to the ceiling or the sky, if possible. If you can do anything, any of these, if you have to lay down for, especially persons who might be disabled or going through something, lying down is fine too. And just making sure your legs are not crossed. So, again, this is going back to the old meditations that a lot of people teach. They cross the legs. And what happens is the energy gets stuck in the tourniquet style crossing. So we let our legs go angular, like in a chair, all the way to the ground where your feet are firmly on the ground. And I want you to just quietly get into your space and almost even start to call the energy towards yourself, telling kind of the universe and yourself, this is my time. This is the time I'm going to dedicate to collecting myself, doing some work for myself, releasing the things that I need today. So do this. And then I want you to imagine a grounding cord coming off your hips. So this cord, you hear a lot about cords, and it was very confusing for a really long time. And I kind of just went with it. Sometimes afraid to even ask, what is a cord? Um, they're just energetic, actual little cords that we create and we attach them to people, places, and things. They're kind of clear and they have energy running in them, sometimes dark, sometimes light, sometimes filled with stuff. And they're just when you put a lot of energy or something, you will create a cord to something. So this is an intentional cord for ourselves, and I'll explain a little bit more of the intentions of it. Now, this cord, especially for the grounding cord, it can be any kind of material that you want. This is where you can use your imagination. And in the beginning, I always like to say, let's pick a tree that you like or a kind of tree that you like, because people can relate to that. And also because it's earthing and grounding, they really like that idea that this is a tree. So, but just for, I've had people immediately not vibrate towards a tree and they want a cylinder like cord, almost something you would see in Star Trek. With lights going around it, and some people wanted to bejewel them with beautiful jewels on them. That is something you can actually do. This is your grounding cord, okay? So, but let's start with in general, unless you want to pick your own thing, but as a tree, and I like to use something that's very strong, or if you have a childhood tree that used to live around, that used to sit against, pick that tree, do whatever speaks to you. A willow tree. I like to do redwood trees because they have just this strong essence. So, um, for the purpose of what we're doing today, I'm just going to choose a redwood tree. And I'm going to imagine that basically a redwood tree is connecting to the center of my hips, which will actually be the first chakra. We will get into chakras later. But it's in the center of all of our hips. It's the energy center, also called the root chakra. But make this at least 2 inches wider than your hips. So imagine 2 inches wider than your hips. And imagine this redwood tree basically growing and it's round and it's going all the way down to where your feet are and it's starting to grow. And then the inside is empty, it's hollow. There's nothing on the inside. It's a clear space. Now, let that um, tree continue to grow and get stronger and stronger. And I want you to see it even hit the ground where you're at, no matter where you are. And then let that um, go through the cement, or if it's not, just go through and start to go all the way through the earth's energy field. And you can see it barreling through the earth, going down, 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 seeing it pass through the earth a little faster, a little farther, miles and miles and miles down, down, down. And then we just like for you to imagine this just going all the way into the very center of the earth, passing through the rivers in the earth's core. You get to where that fire is, the lava, where the core of the earth is going. And this really connects you to the earth. And just imagine this strong grounding cord. It's just really holding you. And then we like to tell ourselves or our higher selves or our spirit to release anything that's no longer serving us. Anything down this grounding cord that we no longer need. And we will show you a little bit later a graphic that has all the high vibrational energy and then all the low vibrational energy as a funnel. But we kind of inherently already know what those are. But what we're going to do is we're just kind of telling our spirit to release anything like resentment, fears, fatigue, sadness, other people's energy that's stuck in our space. And especially as the world is changing as much as it is, having grounded people around you is going to be really important. Being more grounded is going to be really important. It'll give you the ability to make better decisions faster, to know what is right for you. It sharpens your intuition. So let's continue releasing all the things that are no longer serving you anymore down that grounding cord. And you can kind of also imagine some of those things going down. It's actually was really helpful to me, especially if I was around either a toxic person or a job or a situation. We know now that that was a very stressful situation. It was very toxic. There was a lot of cruelty. There was mean things said. You can just almost take that full ball of wax or whatever it was and just imagining it going down that grounding cord and sliding down and going through and landing in the lava and burning it away forever. And the great thing about this as an attention is we're not trying to um, boomerang the energy back to anyone else. We are acting as healers for ourselves, but also for the planet because we're just getting rid of that energy. We don't need it. And, we don't need to bring it back, push it back to other people. That's something that, you know, are for other type of modalities, and it's just not healthy. We just, as healers of the planet, we just want to release that stuff. And even you can even put a person's face if you have a relationship issue. Um, and your higher self will know exactly, what to release from that person. You might be around a controlling person or somebody who causes you great anxiety and you don't know why. And that's something we'll get into called relationship healing. But let all that energy go down that grounding cord. Just continue. The really beautiful thing about um, your spirit and your higher self is that it it knows a lot more than we do in this physical plane, and as soon as you start doing this work and talking about things and asking it to do things, it gets really excited and it just starts to, turn it on, and, so it knows the tools, and what I mean by it, I mean your higher self. It already knows all this stuff, and we're actually reconnecting the synapses of our true being when we do this, so Especially when you first do it, you might start to feel like a sense of excitement because you're getting back your birthright knowledge of these are the tools that our ancestors inherently knew about. These are the tools that natives and Indians still and always have put forth and put forward into the world. I myself have a little Native American in me, and so I feel very connected to these kind of um, things. And we're just bringing it back now. So watch all that stuff go down the grounding cord, and it's such a great thing. So we're going to add other things on in the next videos, but I'm going to go more into the grounding section. Um, the typical what meditation that we would do is grounding, earth, bringing up the earth and the feet, cosmic, going up into kind of bringing that stardust energy in with all the rainbow colors into the body, combining them and calling in our back our energy from other people, which we call a golden sun, putting up protections around us. And also, that's just the beginning, getting into the center of our head so we can get rid of everybody else's thoughts and emotions. Um, and those are just some of the things that we're going to be learning and practicing. But for this video, it's just grounding. Okay. So continue with that grounding cord. So now I want you to imagine the room you're in. You can either imagine the room, or actually you can do the whole building that you're in or your whole house. Um, just imagine this a new grounding cord coming in your room or in your building. Same thing, make it a little bit wider than the space. Create a very strong grounding cord, put it around this area, send it all the way to the center of the earth, and just ask that any energy that is not of highest vibration just go down that grounding cord. So this is amazing because you have people that help build that your property. You've had that might have had some things or energy that is of a lower quality. Um, some of the material that was taken to build that home or property was taken in a way that wasn't of the highest calling, wasn't respected. It was a beautiful tree that was taken in the prime of its life, that was ready to go. And you kind of release any kind of energy that's in the house. People might have come over and left a lot of toxic energy in your space. And, this is releasing the energy in the whole home. If you have animals, we're going to go into that next too. So animals are 100% pure spirit and natural healing energy. And they take on a lot of things for us because they want us to be of the highest vibration. And oftentimes they will get sick. And if you have a dog, sometimes that will pass away very early on. And there's no reason why. A lot of times it's because they've been trying to heal you and it has made them sick because it's not their inherent nature. Um, they're just such our beautiful guides here, but also they will naturally be grounded as soon as you start to do this work around them. But if you want to imagine they're grounded too, just adding that grounding cord to them and sending that all the way to the center now of the earth and letting their body be put on release. It's a wonderful healing thing to do for anything and anyone, and it's spiritually okay. Which, in my journey, I don't like to break rules. There's just really don't know exactly why, but I think it had it inherent in me that I like to follow practices, and that's just my natural state. So I was really afraid of grounding other people. Am I allowed to do that? Is that breaking some kind of spiritual law? And through my, counsels and, connecting with a lot of higher beings, they said, "Absolutely not," because it is really just pure energy. You're helping them just to clear their space. So there's a few things you are allowed to do for other people without their permission, and grounding is one of them. If you're gonna do a healing with somebody, you need their permission to do it, and other things, but you can ground anything, anywhere, anytime. And that's what's so beautiful. So, but the rules are that you ground yourself first, just like if you were in an airplane, you have to work on yourself first and then you work on the people around you. So make sure if you can to ground anybody else in the house, any living thing in the house, pets, people, kind of getting everything like ground zero setting, right? So just imagine that grounding core. And if there's something specific you know that that person needs a release, just ask to do that. You're going to get a spiritual upgrade and a thank you from the collective at one point for doing this work. This is you being a healer of the planet, and it's really a beautiful, generous thing that you're doing for yourself and the world and for the people around you. And it gets into that more state of giving with to the world without any expectation of receiving back, which is just it's such a high form of kindness and beauty. So just continue to do that. And then we can even go in and ground your cars. And imagine this grounding cord around the car and releasing the energy that your car might have picked up. It does pick up energy. And as I've gotten into studying how energy works, and it's unbelievable what your car can pick up. Um, and I want to use an example because this could be helpful for many people. But if you're ever driving down, if you driving down like on say a freeway, and we know sometimes all of a sudden just seems like there's going to be an accident happening soon. People are driving crazy for whatever reason, just seems nuts. Um, you're like, wow, it's like constantly like people are in front of me and they're stopping and there's like a chaoticness energy, right? I always take a giant piece, imagine a giant piece of land, my car, ground my car and myself, but then I ground that whole speed part of the freeway. And I'm not even kidding you. You can just kind of see everything start to calm down and people start to drive better and then the energy shifts. And it's a great tool to have no matter where you are. You could be in a meeting, for example, and I used to do tests on this, sort of like A/B testing, when I had an executive job at a studio. I would every Monday morning we had a big important meeting with all of the executives, and it would be about 40 people. And, I would just really literally do tests on either starting grounding myself, grounding other people, not grounding people to see if how the energy would shift. Or if things started getting chaotic, how I would just imagine grounding everybody and then watching their energy shift. It's really, really fascinating. But while we're talking, just continue the grounding and letting everything going down and being in your space and letting things fall away for yourself and everyone else around you. But I just want you to get to and understand that you can any part of your work in office now. Why don't you go over to that, whether you're there or not there, ground your desk or your office or just the building or any of the spaces that you are in, and release the energy in that space. And now I want you to think about maybe another thing that you want to ground, which is a project or something that you want to put your energy or effort into, business. So, for example, the Liberated Healer podcast. We're going out in the world, we're talking to people about all kinds of different things, and everybody has a different opinion or thought, and it can get chaotic. And you don't want to be bringing in a chaotic energy into especially something where you're trying to be high vibrational. So it's really great idea to take the idea of the project. So put your project or your name of your business or something that you want to create. You will be just a painting and ground that, put a grounding cord on that and send it all the way to the center of the earth and let that release the things that aren't serving it. People will, I think a lot of times unknowingly throw judgments on other people or criticisms and they will kind of blacken or darken the energy associated to stuff. And if enough people do that, that energy definitely will stick. As you ground this business or project, it will release those low vibrational energies of fear and anxiety and depression, judgments, criticisms, anxiety, and you can even maybe start to see colors falling away from you. Low grade grays, muted browns, kind of browns that don't look healthy, muted greens, muted yellows, muted pinks. All that really the colors that look like they're suffering colors. It's so funny to think of it like that. But letting that watch that release, giving your project or person or someone you love some new energy today. We've even can ground the whole planet. You can ground the whole planet Earth. And it's interesting just think of it grounding into itself and giving them a little bit of a healing. And Mother Gaia will definitely thank you. It's the intention of what you are doing. And the intention is so important. Words are important, thoughts are important. And this is always the basics also of the grounding. So we can have a plateau that we build up on, like constant building on and adding new things to. You have to have a foundational place to start. And that's why other meditations for me, there was something missing. And because I'm an empath and I was trying to heal so many people, a lot of people who want to heal the world and have that idea coming in, they do have like this deep connection to spirit and faith. So they go around just helping people and not putting themselves first. Um, they s- and it they take on so many different people's energy and they hold it for them and they think they're supposed to. And I think that's what healing is all about. And then they wind up getting so sick. They get all kinds of different I had chronic fatigue syndrome that I healed in myself. Um, they get sad. They even have this suicidal ideation because they can't figure out why they can't feel great in their space, why they don't belong. But they naturally will go and heal the next person over and over and over again until they get even more sick or sad. So um, I don't know. Grounding is the number one thing for me. And I always start there, and it is so important. I mean, I know if you've gotten this far, you realized how important this is, but do not doubt how great this is. And so, just call yourself back now. Come back a little bit into your space, and let me know if you have any questions about grounding specifically. But again, you can ground anything, an animal, a project. You can actually even ground an object. So, say you had a wedding ring and you don't want to sell it and you're not with that person anymore, but you want to keep it and it has some memories attached to things that were maybe not great. You can imagine grounding that element, ground that object, and just let it release anything that's not serving it, giving it a little bit of reprieve. Um, so when you ground other people, um, and then, you could just ask that whatever's not serving them, just fall away into that grounding cord and burn away. It's such a beautiful gesture. I've even gone into yoga studios and started grounding the yoga studio I was in. And, um, this takes practice. So I wouldn't just do that immediately because you really need to know your space and how it's going to be affecting other people. So to begin with, I would say if you're going into workout somewhere, pick a square around you and ground that space first. and make sure you ground yourself first. And we're going to show you about protections and do that as well before you start to do too much grounding. Because if there's somebody who does have a lot of darker energy, they might not like that energy, and they might kind of try to, you know, throw some energy on you that you don't need or want. This takes practice, and there's only a few people that really have that super dark energy, so that's why it's not, like, so concerning, but, there are a few people that, you know, I would say somebody who's actively practicing some dark stuff, like, you might not want to do it to them, or make sure you go to the protection video first and watch that. So, we're gonna get into that in the next immediate video because you do need to protect your energy. These things work. Um, Obviously, let's just go back to do a little bit of a recap. But the grounding cord is the first thing that you always do. Pick something very strong and stable. Imagine that grounding cord growing to the center of the earth. Um, Communicate with your higher self and ask it to release anything that's no longer serving you. What also this will do is connect you more to your spirit. Your spirit, especially it's gone through a lot of heavy traumas, um, or situations that are heavy in emotion. Your spirit starts to disconnect a little bit, to try and survive, or not being able to deal with certain things happening on this earthly plane. So, they just grounding your spirit will start to get closer to you, and you'll start to feel a little bit more together. And as you do this, um, everything you want in life actually happen and can be brought to you. You have a purpose of being here. Every single person is uniquely here for a specific reason. You do, if love is something that you want, and you can call that in, and you can make sure it's specifically to what you need. If you want to find your life purpose that's going to make your heart sing every day, you can find that. But all sorts of grounding. You need to have, this is the baseline. This is very important. That's why we stress it so much over and over again. It's unbelievable uh, that uh, we can't stress it enough, obviously. So now we're going to get into the next videos are going to be Earth and Cosmic, which is something you would do next. um, Golden Sun, which is calling back your energy, which is really something you should be doing at all times, especially if you're grounding, because you're releasing things. Now you want to call in the of the things that you're to replace it, because you don't want to replace it with non-high vibrational energy. So we would recommend that you go to those two next, and then the protection. And then from there, you have your meditation series. And then we can add on working with healing guides. It just goes on and on and on. This is just going to be such an exciting experience. And I hope that you're really enjoying it. And if you have any specific questions, you can email me at gina@theliberatedhealer.com. And we'll be happy to answer you. Now, there's going to be a PDF attached so you can go through all of these steps. The other videos will be included in the PDF too, though. Um, and let us know if you have questions. And we're so grateful that you're here, and thank you for your support for the Liberated Healer. We it's it's our passion and our purpose to be here, and we hope that you are enjoying it, and that it will help you in many, many different ways, and your family and everything and everyone you love. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming to Medabot. The next series are going to be a little bit more about different types of protections you can do, especially if you're going to do healings on other people. We're going to do the zipper meditation, which was kind of given to me through a guide, Emmanuel Swedenborg. who we wrote the book coming out June 26th, Surviving Suicidal Ideation from Therapy to Spirituality and the Lived Experience, coming out June 26th through Swedenborg Foundation. The zipper meditation is really great for calling in and zipping up that energy and letting it out. So we're going to be running that next. And that's great to do in the morning if you're going to go into a meeting, if you're going to start writing a book, working on any of that stuff. We're going to get into healing guides. We're going to teach you how to find your own guides. We're going to teach you how to communicate with your guides. It's sort of endless. We're just going to keep going. We're going to teach you about archetypes, the different archetypes that you carry, past lives. We're going to teach you how to do a reading on people, so much more. So thank you for enjoying this series. If you have any questions, I'm Gina at theliberatedhealer.com. Please like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. There's all kinds of different more information on there. We're going to be adding the PDFs to all of this so you can follow along if you get confused along the way. It can be really confusing. Take your time and realize that this is your birthright to get all of this information back, that your spirit and soul is tingling all over right now. Enjoy that. You are taking in the tools to heal yourself. You need these, you need to be able to pull this out anytime you have a moment that you need something to heal yourself. So I want to applaud you for taking healing in your own hands and share this with anybody that you think that this will benefit. This has been the Liberated Healer. We're so grateful for just your partnership, your friendship, wanting to be a part of this journey. And as each person kind of lightens up, the whole collective lightens up. It's not a small thing. You are not a small thing. You are an amazing, wonderful spark of soul light, part of that stardust energy that we called back in. So much love to you and blessings. And can't wait to see you again. Thank you.